Ladies and gents, welcome to gibizi.com. Today, my guest is Jacques the Brain. I hope I got your name right. How are you, Jacques?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for making time to chat to us today. It's the beginning of the year, and I'm sure you guys there at Flume, you're busy working on planning for the year. But yeah, before we get to talk about the company and what you do, who is Jack? Tell me, what kind of guy are you? What do you like doing, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, Jacques is an easygoing guy. I am married. I have two daughters. One's going into grade 2 now, so you can see I'm already starting to parent school-going children.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I love to read. I love to be outdoors. I've recently started boxing to get fit. So I'm big into my fitness now. Now that I'm sleeping at night, my kids are a little bit older. Yeah, and I absolutely love spending time with my family. So if it's not business and focusing on that and the clients, it's most certainly focusing on the family and just reading up and gaining more knowledge. So that's really who I am outside of. And I'm sure in the background here, you can see there's a bit of a keyboard there. So every now and again, I play some music as well.
Oh, okay. No, sounds fun. And the boxing thing sounds very, very exciting. And it's also one of the things that I want to do. But every year I start and then I stop. But yeah, I know, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So
Thanks.
yeah, you are an MD of a very like one of the most influential agencies in the country called Flume. So for those that may not know, what is Flume and what do you guys do?
Sure. So the word flume is actually, it's a conduit that you set up from one place to the next to allow water to flow. And we do that digitally. So we allow for information to flow from one place to another. So from our clients to their customers, and vice versa. And so that's what Flume is in terms of what the word means. In terms of what we do, we're a full service digital marketing agency. So we offer any service that you'd expect from a digital marketing agency, i.e. web development, digital creative, paid media, search engine optimization, data analytics. And we offer that all in-house as one bouquet of products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very interesting. And it's interesting for me because you're not just doing creative work, but you're also doing tech work, SEOs. I know that's been a buzzword for a while now. And a lot of us are still kind of like learning it and trying to understand it. So just to get a bit technical, like when because we see this all the time, like when you go on YouTube, an SEO ad will pop up to say, "Do you need an SEO? This is how you can get your business out there." Like, what are SEOs, and why do companies need them?
Sure. Look, I think it's one of the most misunderstood terms in digital marketing because often there's SEM and SEO, and people are like, is SEM SEO and is SEO SEM? What's going on here? Well, SEM is search engine marketing. Okay. So within that, you'd get paid, you'd get organic. So you get paid as in Google AdWords, you get organic as in the organic rankings, and everything else that goes with it, Google My Business pages, and obviously, mustn't forget about Bing and Yahoo. They also exist. But where SEO comes in is it's search engine optimization. So we're optimizing your website to rank organically on a search engine's results page. So when someone goes into Google and types, "I'm looking for shoes," which is very vague, we want your business to come up first. We want you to come up above your competitors because we want you to take that traffic and direct it to your site so that you get the opportunity to convert that business. So essentially, that's what search engine optimization is. And it sounds quite simple, but there really is a lot of technicality behind it. So you'd have your content stream, what we call your on-page optimization, where you're optimizing your content to say what Google wants to hear. Then you get your off page, which is how many other sites are linking to your site. And then the technical SEO, which is how fast does your page load? Are you on fast enough servers? Is it mobile optimized? All that kind of good stuff. And it gets very technical. And you can imagine Google changes its algorithm 200 times a year.
Wow.
So you can't just optimize your sites and then go, cool, it's optimized, I'm going to leave it. You need to be on the ball because Google's changing that algorithm all the time, and you need to know how to tweak your site in order to speak to Google's algorithm.
Okay. No, look, you just explained it perfectly. I understand it, and I'm sure, whoever will be watching this will also understand. So, while we're on digital marketing, I want to know, how is Flume, your company, helping like your clients online with digital transformation? Because we know that a lot of companies are old, and especially here in South Africa, I would say maybe over the past decade, it's only when South African companies started like really exploring digital media and trying to find opportunities online. So now, how does now Flume come in terms of like transforming your clients online?
Yeah, so digital transformation is quite an open-ended term. I think that a lot of people misunderstand what is digital transformation.
I think let's start there. Let's start there. What is digital transformation?
So look, I haven't read a dictionary definition of what it is, and I'm sure everyone has their own definition, but off the top of my head, I would say that digital transformation is the transformation of a business's operations to become digital. I think that's in its simplest term what that is. So if you look at industrial age businesses, like a lot of our telecoms, a lot of our banks, a lot of our motor vehicle companies, they've come out of industrial age and they're now trying to function in an information age. And we're even moving into the fourth industrial revolution. And that's a whole nother topic that no one understands. So how do we transform how we've done business, which has always been paper-based? So we've, banks always used to have ledger books, right? Now that needs to be online. Okay. It needs to be indexable. It needs to be, so that's just how a business functions. But moreover, how do we transform everything that we do into digital, right? How do we use digital tools to do business faster and smarter? And so I think that is what digital transformation really is. It's transforming your business operations to be digital so that you can make faster and smarter decisions as you go. And then obviously there's so many tools out there and no one understands what they do. So you'll often find big tech companies going and selling solutions to big industrial age businesses, and then they buy software for millions of dollars and then they never end up using it, probably because they didn't really analyze what they actually needed or didn't understand their business readiness. And I think readiness is such a key term when it comes to digital transformation. How ready is your business to transform? It's one thing we talk about it and we say we need it, but are you ready for it? And I think that's where a lot of businesses get stuck. So to give you an example, and this is to answer your question of what is Flume's role in all of this? Well, look, we're not a consultancy. We're not going to go in and necessarily do business analysis and tell someone how ready they are for it. But what we can do is we do a lot of e-commerce. All right. So I believe e-commerce is one of the digital transformation levers. All right. So we can go in and say, dear business, to do e-commerce, you've never done e-commerce before, but enable to do e-commerce, here are the systems and processes you need. Your warranty process needs to look like this. Your dispatch and warehouses need to be on this type of system. It all needs to be digital. Can't have someone taking an order of an email and then it becomes manual, because then we lose that in the process and we can't match warranty to order to. There's so much in the pool when we look at that. And then if you look at stock and how do we manage stock and how does it all speak to one another, and then eventually the business goes, oh my goodness, we're not ready for this because we don't actually have people hired to look after that digital warranty process or that stock availability process, or because now all of a sudden we don't have stock. Usually we just had a retail store and someone walk in, we don't have stock, we say, well, we'll get stock next week. What happens if it's digital?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's a whole mind shift in terms of how we operate as a business. And therefore, what is your readiness? A business may already have mapped all of that out. We come in, we build e-commerce, and it works beautifully. But in most cases, a business hasn't thought about all of those elements. So coming back to digital transformation and Flume's role, so our role will be mostly with regards to e-commerce to say, are you ready? And to help them map that out, but not in its entire, business operations.
Wow, look, it sounds like that's like very, very key, a very, very key job that companies need, because you are addressing a very, very valid business problem there. I can just imagine the workload that goes into what you do. But now my question is, and you touched a bit on it when you were answering me now, because now it's 2022, does every business that exists need digital transformation or digital marketing, or are there some businesses that are just fine, doing things traditionally?
That's a very good question. It's 2022. Look, I think that different countries have different readiness as well, right? I think if you look at Europe and you look at some first world countries like the US or Canada, and yes, absolutely, my goodness, if businesses aren't digitally transformed, then what are they doing? But if you look at more sort of third world countries like a South Africa, even in South America, all those types of places, are we ready for every business to be digitally transformed? Is the broader population of South Africa able to engage digitally? I think that's the question. So let's put it like this: if we had to put voting online for our next elections, would people be happy with that, or would they be upset with that? In a country like South Africa, because that's the digital transformation of our voting process.
Yeah,
I would love it. It would mean I could sit at home and vote, and I'm done. I would never go stand in a queue. But maybe for a broader population, it might create anxiety to go, I don't know how to use the internet, or I don't, what do I do? Who do I speak to? Do I do it on my phone? Can my phone access the internet? So I don't think it's so much of should businesses be, but is the broader population ready for full digital transformation in every single area of their lives? You look at Europe, and you can, on your phone, you can open up an app and say, I want to hire a car. And you click an app and it tells you where's the nearest car, where's it parked. You go to it, you open the app, you click it on the car, and it unlocks, and you drive it, and then you leave it somewhere else for someone else to find. That's digital transformation. I don't know if South Africa would be ready for that. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely going to get there, for sure. We're going to get there. But I think really it's the population that answers that question.
Yeah, and the social dynamics, of course. I mean, I can just imagine in South Africa, where cars get stolen every day. Now you're making it easier. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. I wonder if that will ever work in South Africa. But talking to you now and understanding what you do, as you explain, it sounds a lot like your company dabbles in tech development as well, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
Traditional agencies is more of like consulting work. You get a brief and you sell whatever product or whatever campaign that the brand is doing. So now my question is, traditional ad agencies, do you think that that's a model that will still be relevant in years to come, whereby, like I just said, now you get a brief, then you execute?
So that's a very good question. So we're obviously a digital agency, so we believe in digital technology. But having said that, I believe that there will always be a market for outsourcing. And the reason I say that is because when you're in a business, you become you only see through the lenses of that business, and you become so involved in that business. Sometimes it's good to get an outside perspective to go, have you looked at it like this? Have you seen it from this angle? I mean, friends may point out blind spots that you have. You go, oh, I didn't know that I tend to do that. Yeah, you do. You interrupt a lot of conversation. Oh, I didn't know that. Outside perspective is good. So from that perspective, I believe that you will always need outside agencies to help you solve creative problems. And I don't think that will ever go away. It's never gone away. I mean, David Ogilvy started Ogilvy in, when was it? The 1960s, somewhere around there, 1950s, 1960s. And we still have that model today. So it's not to say that, look, I'm not going to be an idiot and sit here and say nothing is not future proof or whatever, like everything changes. But I think that the idea that traditional agencies are still valuable is more apparent today than it's ever been. And I think it will continue to be valuable, to outsource creativity to agencies to come up with creative solves, and having said that, we can build tech. So Flume can build solutions, but unless people are told that those solutions exist, they won't use them. And again, that's where traditional agencies come in, right? So if you're looking for mass awareness, I think that traditional agencies absolutely know how to create that, how to create a common thread, a single creative idea that's simple, and integrate that into all forms of communication, whether it's online, outdoor, radio, TV, whatever that is. I think traditional agencies still know how to do that, to create the awareness and the demand for the technical products that a Flume builds, So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. But just a follow-up question then is that, do ad agencies now kind of like need to adapt and also have build a stronger tech in-house team for for their briefs, or is it still fine?
So look, yes and no. Depends on the agency's model. I've never run a traditional agency, so I can't answer that question. Flume was born digital. We've always been digital. It's not hard for us to take on digital services. So if we know, we need to do SEO, we bring that in-house. If we need to dev, we bring it in-house. If we need to, there's things, it's very easy for us to adopt digital, services. Whereas for traditional agencies, yes, they do need to evolve. They need to evolve in the way that they think about their execution. Creative is creative. It's creative whether it was 100 years ago or 100 years time. Creative is creative. But how we execute that creative changes. And therein lies the trick for traditional agencies, to evolve with the execution as execution evolves, as it becomes more digital. We're seeing metaverse now. How much of a success it will be, I don't know. But now creative agencies need to think, how do we be creative in the metaverse? So maybe it's more of that, but absolutely they need to evolve.
Okay, I know you definitely answered my question. 10 years ago or so, every company was encouraged to join social media. You need to be on Facebook, you need to be on Twitter. And now, looking at the trends now it's like companies allow themselves, to be criticized publicly. And I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. There's some people may say, well, being on social media is a good thing, but also, people drag your brand online. So my question to you is, social media, what are some of the do's and don'ts according to you?
Sorry, just repeat that last bit. I didn't.
What are some of the social media do's and don'ts for brands in 2022?
Okay. Well, look, again, it depends on the industry and the vertical. So if you're looking at business to business, does a B2B brand have to be on TikTok and Snapchat? I suppose it depends on where their audience is at and what their audience's propensity is to engage with them on those channels. Should a B2B brand be on LinkedIn? Well, I suppose it's smart because you can target certain professionals quite easily. Should FMCG brands be on TikTok and Snapchat? Yeah, maybe that's where their audience is. So do's and don'ts really comes down to the industry and the vertical within that industry. I think I'll say that first. But coming down to should businesses open up themselves to criticism? Well, why not? The more transparent you are as a brand and as a business, the better for you. There's this, I can't remember who it was. Oh man, it was years ago, but someone said that society will always self-regulate. So if someone comes on and says, this brand is rubbish on Twitter, and says, I never do business with them. If it's true, then it's true. Then other people will come and say, I've had the same experience. But if it's not true, then someone else will come and say, that's weird because I've had a different experience. And other people will back up that statement as well, you know. So by opening up yourself to criticism or people to say stuff, I think it will always regulate to what is true. And I think that it only makes you better, because if people give you an honest opinion about yourself, why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want to understand how you can better your business? You know, so I think that goes a long way, but obviously only where it makes sense. So do's and don'ts, obviously do social media with authenticity. Don't just try and sell stuff all the time. I think people are tired of that. And then obviously don't be on platforms that you don't need to be on. You don't have to be on every single platform. In fact, there's some businesses that don't have to be on social media at all. In fact, I think Apple wasn't on any social media. I think the only social media they're on is Twitter and as a support channel. You know, so there's some businesses that even aren't on social media.
Okay.
Hence,
Yeah, no, interesting answer. So, you know, second last question. I was on your website, I was on the Flume website, and I see that, you know, you've obviously done a lot of work for a lot of brands. So what is some of the most exciting work with any brand that you've done?
So that's a very good question. I'm going to answer that very differently to what one of my employees is going to answer that question, because I think exciting can be an exciting brand, an exciting launch. It was famous. Everyone watched it. It got clicks and likes and shares. And, you know, the influencers were commenting on it. And we got news coverage. I mean, that sounds exciting, right? But funny enough, what's really most exciting for me is when we help a business achieve its goals. And often that doesn't sound very, very sexy, right? So, and that's why I'm very excited about business to business marketing, because it's not like everyone knows a robotics company, right? But if you help a robotics company increase its search engine optimization clicks by 1,000%, and it generates 2 more sales, and those are big sales. It's the robots that assemble cars, for instance. Then that's exciting to me. I go, oh my goodness, this works. What we do actually works. That excites me, you know, because a lot of the time there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around marketing and online marketing and social media and all that kind of good stuff. So I think for me, the most exciting work that we've done has been when we've actually furthered a business goals and we've helped them achieve sales. Then I go, wow, that's exciting. Yes, it's exciting to have built Orlando Pirates Football Club's official app. That was super exciting for me, you know, and it has achieved a lot. It's exciting working on Woolworths. It's exciting working on brands like Canon and High Tech and Planet Fitness and Superdry and Diesel. I mean, those are very exciting brands, and we do generate results for them. But I also get excited when we achieve results for business to business brands as well.
No. I think I understand exactly what you're saying. And it's one of the debates in the industry. You know, it's like when a brand launches a product, right? And it's trending everywhere. The impressions is like millions and everybody's talking about it, but the sales are down, right? The sales of the actual product are not up. And then, you know, as opposed to, you know, the sales being up, but the talkability is not great. But I guess it's one of those, you know, industry politics. You can get into it some other time. You know, I don't want to keep you for too long. Last question is for someone that wants to be an MD, you know, of an agency like yours, you know, a company that you run, and they want to be in your shoes. You know, what advice would you give to them?
Well, look, there's 2 ways to do it. The first one is to start your own business. So take a risk, start your own business and become an MD. And the second one is work your way up into that. You know, so if you've started in a business, work your way up and build your leadership. I think leadership is the #1 key. So just because you have started a business doesn't mean that you are a leader. Doesn't mean that you have to be the leader as you keep on going, right? But I think definitely either start a business and grow your leadership skills, or I suppose find your way into a business and then grow your leadership skills. Leadership is everything.
Okay. Well put, brief and straight to the point. Jacques, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing your insights. I understand what you do better now, and I'm sure everybody watching this will understand and be inspired.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, Andile.
All right, okay. Sharp. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.
Bye.